That's something that isn't often talked about in the CSR context, but that's extremely important to us at Boeing, is business ethics. You know, the world has certainly seen the effects of ethics betrayals. Enron, for instance, comes to mind. The devastating break in the dam in Hungary is a very fresh and recent example of where that ethic, that question, what is the impact of what I'm doing, wasn't asked. You know, we've all experienced that. We can read about it probably every day, some whether great or small. But the responsibility for ethics has to come from the leadership of a business, not just from an individual employee's ethic, personal ethics, but it's that pairing of both the personal ethics and the company priority that makes the difference and makes it a CSR differentiator. That's what makes you stand out, is whether those two things in your company have real meaning and real positive impact on who you are as a company and how you impact the world. We have a robust ethics program that is based in a shared commitment. We spend a lot of time as employees talking about what it means, talking about what it means in the different cultural contexts in which we operate, trying to understand how can we have a common ethic and communicate it and share it in all the different cultures where we operate. We have to have a transparency. We have to have shared values, and we have to use our common sense. And we have to back it up with the resources to keep that conversation active among us so that ethics is who we are. Now my team, my title is Vice President of Global Corporate Citizenship. So on the one hand, I and my team lead an enterprise-wide conversation, we call it, about CSR, or corporate citizenship as we call it. So our job is to keep that conversation growing so that it will eventually be infused throughout every department, every function, every shop floor in the company. Now, we're a huge company. We're all around the world. We're 160, 180,000 employees. Getting to that saturation point takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a cookie-cutter thing. It's not a bulletin on Monday morning that tells you what to do. It is a culture. And so we spend a lot of time working on developing that culture. We also manage programs that address specific community issues. And that's our corporate philanthropy part of our portfolio and our employee volunteer engagement. It has to be focused to be effective. We may be a large company, but we can't solve every problem. We simply can't. The world is too big, number one, and number two, that wouldn't be right. That isn't what this is all about. Everybody needs to be engaged and working collaboratively for us to solve all our problems. So focus for us means that we are looking to have the greatest impact that we can, to be the most useful, not the most prevalent. We're not looking for a PR impact here. We're looking for impact results for the community. It has to make sense with who we are. We are engineers, we are business people, we're accountants, some lawyers perhaps, communicators. So there are things that skills and talents and core competencies that we can bring to the community because that's who we are, that's what we know how to do. But if we try to bring, soccer coaches, we don't specialize in soccer. So we don't really know so much about that. Somebody else needs to do that. And at best, we're in conversation with our corporate colleagues so that on a map of all the needs of a community, we can work together to fill those gaps. That, I think, is the future. Right now, I think we're still in a stage of each of us trying to refine what is our focus, how can we best collaborate in community. Our company focuses on the 5 key elements of a community structure. We see those 5 elements as being education, and by education I mean from birth through higher education, workforce development, including the systems needed to support a workforce, so health care systems especially, other kinds of training for work-ready workforce. Arts and culture is important to a community because we have to nurture creativity and innovation. That has to be built into who we all are. And if you look at every society, there is always, that's the role culture plays, is to bring that freshness and that insight to ongoing life. Civic engagement, in other words, how we act together as a community. And environmental awareness, so that we understand what the risks and the needs are to create environmental sustainability for the planet. We come to this 5-element system because that's who we are. We understand large-scale systems integration. We take a bunch of parts, sometimes even manufactured all over the world, and we put them together into one beautifully precise, highly functional thing. And so that's the way we look at community. There are a lot of parts, and we need to work together to put them together into one highly functioning, beautiful thing.